Japan quality. Yokohama, your tire.
Welcome back. As you can see from the clock here, we're already started our warm-up session here. They're in the rises and falls of the back part of the circuit, I think you might say, as they head from San Francisco Hill uphill to Maternity, the old hospital there, downhill once again to the Solitude S's, and then back up Moorish Hill, wending their way down to a series of sharp turns, the sharpest of which is Macau, before they get back onto the straightish stuff, albeit with its own kinks, through Fisherman's, Arbend, past the start-finish straight and Reservoir. It is a magnificent part of the world to be in, especially if you love your touring car racing, which of course we do. My name's Carlton Kirby, alongside me Harry Volkard. Harry, this is a notoriously difficult track to master, but there is one man who just seems to have the betterment of everybody here. The times tell their own story.
Yeah, you're right. Rob Huff is obviously who you're talking about, and you made a bit of a mention of it before. He's won here more than anybody else in the past. I think it's five times in the last nine attempts or something, and he did an absolutely stunning lap yesterday in qualifying, which took him almost 7 tenths ahead of his teammate, which is obviously his nearest rival in the championship as well. So this could be the start of the next British World Touring Car Champion, I think, this weekend.
Well, it'd be great. He's been ribbed a little bit, I think you might say, by Ivan Muller and Alain Manu. But, well, the boot was on the other foot, I think. When it came to Shanghai, Manu and Muller tangling and essentially just, well, hampering themselves, hobbling themselves a little bit as far as the championship push is concerned. They were teasing Rob, saying, you know what, you've got to win it, you've still got to win it, and we still intend to stop you, even though we're teammates. There was even questions about whether team orders might come into it as well, just to stop them tangling with each other. Well, even if they did have those orders, it didn't do Manu and Muller any good at all last time by, did it?
No, I think Alain was pretty unlucky, to be fair, in that incident in Shanghai. There was Alain he had a good lead, and it looked like he had the job pretty much sewn up, and Ivan just seemed to miss his braking, or maybe looked a little bit overly optimistic, but sure, there was no malice in it, but the net result is it put both of them out of the running, and they still finished second and third, but that has effectively damaged both of their championships, and you know, you could argue it's ruined both of their championships.
Yeah, I think so. We're on board with Rob Huff. We're going to stay with him for 4 laps, apparently. You'll see some of the roads that they're dealing with here. It almost looks like a ramp through to hotel car parking. It gets as narrow as 7 metres here, overtaking notoriously difficult, and he's in the best place to be, on pole for race 1.
Yeah, definitely. He's a great starting position. You can't really beat that, obviously. And somewhere like Macau, you can see how tight and twisted it is. You know, there's no substitute for track position, and obviously he's got to hold on to it at the start, but you've got to be there, you've got to be in it to win it, as it's been famously said before. And you know, Rob's sitting pretty there with the best car on the grid there, and also in the best position, in the best seat in the house.
And check that corner out. There are several extraordinarily tight corners that you've got to deal with here. This one as well. It almost seems that you can't get round here, and you've almost got to drift the car a little bit to make it.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, you do need a lot of high-speed stability. There's some very, very fast corners here, which such as Mandarin and Reservoir, and obviously Fisherman's and Arbend as well. They're all quick corners, but this section out the rear here, I think the key to making your car go well here is to make sure you've got something which you can trust, and something which is stable underneath you, and you're not worried that it's going to bite you. And you know, as we saw yesterday, there's 2 unfortunate incidents when someone unfortunately died in the Macau touring car race, and the last thing you need to be doing is hitting these walls. And you know, like we said, some of these corners are very, very fast.
Yeah, it was down in Fisherman's, incidentally. Philip Yao also on board a cruise as well in the Macau Cup qualifier. Yeah, he hit the barriers just there, actually, as he was coming. In fact, it was Fisherman's, not the Arbend, so the corner previous to that. And sadly, he was killed on impact. It did look reasonably benign, I've got to say, taking nothing away from the incident at all. But it was almost like a glancing blow, but clearly he passed away, and there's nothing we can do about that apart from pass on our condolences. It did not look serious enough. It certainly didn't look like a fatal accident, did it?
No, it didn't. It looked like a a bit of a brush with the wall, and it's hard to tell because you can't see exactly what shocks are going through the car and how that affects the driver. And
exactly,
obviously he's been unfortunate there, and
yep, and paid the ultimate price for doing something he loves. So we weren't on it too much, but Luis Carrera as well has also lost his life. That was on one of the motorcycle races here. It's extraordinarily dangerous. So yes, watchers beware, and indeed drivers even more so, I think. So let's just keep our fingers crossed that everything passes away safely this weekend for the remainders of the competitors here, and that those who've paid the ultimate price, their families,
there's Gary Roberts in the STR pit lane there, with obviously keeping an eye on Tom, who's behind Darrell O'Young, his old teammate as well, earlier on in the season. Let's
get back to exactly how they're standing. It's interesting that the top 4 in the championship are filling rows 1 and 2. Darrell O'Young taking a point for pole, and taking his first pole as well, and what a great place to do it. He is from Hong Kong. He's one of the independents, and he's on row 3 alongside the Honda Civic S2000 TC of Thiago Monteiro, who is almost the best of the rest. Gabby Darkini's Leon is on row 2 with Alan Manu alongside him. Rob Huff leads off as pole man. Incidentally, the rolling pole is different from the standing start pole for race 2, just because of the nature of the track. If it is a rolling start, which race 1 is, then Huff would prefer to be on the inside of the bend at speed, but you want a better view of it from the get-go from a standing start, so hence the pole shifts to the other side. It's a strange one.
Yeah, definitely, and you've made a good point there, because I see this weekend in the Formula 1, I know it's nothing the same, but you get a clean side and a dirty side to the grid, and I was watching the qualifying earlier on, and there's a big debate in the F1 as to which side is faster, because the track surface is very slippery. This is a similar story, because it's normally a road, obviously it's a street course, so the circuit's very slippery when it's not in use. Therefore you're almost better off taking off, even if you're on the wrong side of the track per se. You're better off being on the side where you've got a bit more traction, and if it means you can get into the first corner first, that's obviously what you're after. That's the whole point of qualifying first anyway, that's why you want to be on pole position. So it's a bit swings and roundabouts, but for the rolling start, obviously you've got the momentum already, so you don't need that initial bite of traction from the tarmac that you definitely require from a standing start.
Yeah, a better view of the corner as well. You're smoothing it out essentially, and the track will be slightly more rubbered in as well. Let's not forget for the standing start a little bit later on. So the countdown continues. Just exactly tell us what you get from warm-up here. I wouldn't imagine that much, frankly, from this particular course.
No, I mean, warm-up's always one of those. It's a funny one. You don't want to. You have to do it because all of your competitors are doing it, and you do need to take part in it. But realistically, somewhere like Macau, you're not going to be pushing it too hard, because the last thing anybody wants to do here, it's a rule number 1: don't put the car on the wall and warm up. It's just a completely unacceptable thing. There's no prizes to be won here, so it's just making sure that your car's good to go really for the race. But we've so often seen it before that it's so much earlier than the races. The track's very, very different anyway, so you can't really learn anything about the car setup or anything like that. So just a final run out really before the race.
Just tracking Thiago Monteiro, he does not look like he's holding back one little bit here. The Civic S2000 TC, we're going to be seeing a lot more of it. The Honda in his hands, absolutely singing, and the Portuguese, of course, former Portuguese colony Macau, likes to strut his stuff here. There's a lot of Portuguese companies still involved in this part of the world, and he's very much the favourite of the cameras right now. Pushing hard, you wouldn't want him behind you.
No, definitely not. I mean, that's the beauty with those guys. They are using this every race as an extended test session. So, of all of the cars out there, they're probably one of the few where they're not battling for any championship positions like these guys. They're just making sure that they're out there. But I wonder what's going on there. That's Norbert Michelitz, who's obviously one of the 3 protagonists in the independent battle. Well, obviously Alex McDowell in there as well.
Well, he's leading it actually. Top qualifier behind Darrell O'Young of the title contenders. He leads off row 4 in race 1. Not quite sure what the Hungarian's problem is with the vehicle at the moment. It's BMW, all plugged in, and he's missing out on this session. We were saying, what can you gain from the warm-up? One thing you can gain is a little bit of condition knowledge in terms of the weather. Now, when you've got 78% humidity, which I always think it sounds a bit strange when they say that. 78% chance of rain, some might say, but no, it doesn't mean that. It's the amount of moisture that's actually carried within the air. We'll wait and see. I'm never quite sure whether it's the air that's near the ground or the air that's in the cloud. But anyway, moisture is here. It's not as warm as you might have thought. You can see that from the gear that they're wearing here. The wind has blown up, so we never know. You might actually just have rain. If that drifts in, then everything they've learnt right now will count for nothing. But just look at Montero enjoying his run here, having a great time. There is another Honda out here. It's an Accord Type R in the hands of Enrico de Jesus. Incidentally, all of the Macau drivers are at the back. I don't know what happened, but they all missed their way in at the end of qualifying. I don't know whether they did that deliberately and they've been running light, but anyway, they got penalised and they're all at the back. So we were talking about local knowledge. It's not going to count for much when you're way back there on a day like today. Darrell O'Young, time to dip in.
Yeah, also in the pit lane. It could be that these guys don't actually have problems, you know, they're just coming in with, you know, as we say, you don't want to smash your car up, you don't want to wear it out. You know, you do your little run, make sure you're okay, and then call it a day at that and get yourself ready for the race.
Apart from anything else, a bit of a nerve settler, really. You just get yourself back into the race day zone. You kind of worry before you actually get in the car, and then as soon as you're there, you're back in the office, and nerves can tend to calm. Yeah,
that's a good point, actually. It's a little bit of preparation for the drivers, maybe more so than the cars, you know. Like you say, these guys haven't driven the cars for 2 days now, because qualifying was 2 days ago, which is an unusual format for Macau. It's not like that anywhere else, but if this is the first time they've driven in a couple of days, it's maybe not all bad that they get a run out there just to freshen their brains up, so they're not arriving at turn 1 in race 1 pretty much cold.
Just tracking Tarquini here, Gabrielli, who is 4th in the championship. Pretty good run for him to see at Leon, and just hooking back here with Rob Huff again in the 2 car with the Union Jack emblazoned across the roof. Nice to see the Union Jack back in favour again. I think possibly post-Olympics, to be honest. Everyone's not afraid to fly the red, white and blue. We were getting very much sort of English and soul ties all over the place, but it seems we're one nation again when it comes to sport, at least.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, it'd be great to see Rob take this championship. You know, it's no favouritism or anything there, but it's just, I think he's been in this championship for so long. He's a young guy. Obviously Chevrolet pulling out this year, so this could be his best opportunity he's had to take the World Championship. He was very close last year and pretty unfortunate, and you know, I think, you know, he's driven absolutely amazingly all year, really, and I think he does deserve it. He deserves the win.
Terrific. We've got a lot of interest here. Alex Young did a terrific job. He finds himself on pole, incidentally, for race 2, qualified in 10th place. And in the switchback system that we're engaged with at the moment in the World Touring Cars, has been in place. Pretty much a success, I think, the qualifying structure. I've enjoyed it. I think giving points for the second qualifying session, stopping sandbagging, it certainly seems to have worked. And you get the joy of some rather unusual poles. How long they stay at the head of the race is another matter.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a good thing, because the old system was becoming to be a bit of a, you know, it was a bit of a standing joke, really. People sandbagging to get pole position, and it doesn't make sense. You know, motorsport's about going fast, so you shouldn't be rewarded for deliberately going slow. But on the flip side of that, like you say, it throws up the odd funny mix here. You've got Alex McDowell on outright pole, which probably, you know, Alex has been very fast this year, but I'm sure he'd admit himself that's probably not very likely to happen, you know, just on his raw pace alone. He's certainly up there, but that's not ideal.
Yeah, exactly. What were you saying about testing the barriers on the warm-up? Exactly what you do not want to do. Just dipping down. I don't know whether your screens are any better than ours are here.
That's Freddie Barth again, isn't it? I thought it looked like it had extra big headlights on it, but it was after that shunt that he had in qualifying. They'll have just finished putting that thing back together, so I'm guessing he's not going to be flavour of the month.
Yeah, he won't be flavour of the month. They've had a big old, they've had a busy old time of things. They're going to have another one here, by the looks of things. Always difficult not to swear at a moment like that. I always think it's a credit to them. We're going to get timed out here. Yellow in sector 2. Incidentally, there is a permanent yellow around Melco. Not that you're ever going to engage in an overtaking manoeuvre on that particular corner, because it's so difficult to get around some cars with particularly dodgy locks, have a great deal of difficulty. Just coming out, or deciding to go out, and I think he's going to have to come straight back in because I think session's done. Andre Couto in the 66 car. He's a regular here. He's in the Thiago Montero former machine, incidentally. Thiago, as we know, is on the move next season. A lot of movement will take place next year. A lot of chops and changes in terms of manufacturer involvement.
Yeah, there's obviously Chevrolet pulling out. There's no, obviously BMW haven't been in for a little while. There's rumour of Seat coming back with well, they've said that they're going to do it, but there's just no official statement as to saying exactly how they're going to do it. Are they going to develop a new car? Are they going to work on this current car? You know, there's a lot still to be answered there. Lada are coming back next year with a proper manufacturer's effort. You know, it'll certainly be interesting to see what goes on, and there's quite a lot of big independent things going on as well. So, you know, it will chuck a bit of a spanner in the mix. I think this championship will be seems to be going from strength to strength, and you know, next year it'll be pretty exciting.
I certainly think it has, and we can thank the independents basically for keeping it alive. I think it's certainly given us an awful lot of entertainment further down the order. The Yokohama Drivers' Trophy, incidentally, just to remind you, Norbert Michelis, Pepe Oriola, Stefano D'Aste, they're separated, all three of them, by only 16 points. Michelis on 138, on 126, so 12 adrift is Pepe Oriola, and Stefano D'Aste is 16 adrift on 122. There are plenty of points up for grabs here, and the whole of that podium can swap, chop and change. So just watch this space. I think we're going to have a chat with Rob Huff in a few moments' time, incidentally.
Yeah, there's Andre Couto. I'm not sure who this guy is with him, but I think he must be one of the local drivers. But
well, he's got the Macau flag upon his helmet, so let's assume that, shall we? So Rob Huff, incidentally, it's all been flagged out now. Just a few remainders out on course, and anyone who's been a bit tardy getting out has left it too long, frankly. Darrell O'Young, who had a crash in Mandarin during testing here, looks like they've nailed the car back together good and proper. I don't know whether it spurred him on, the fact that his team had worked so hard, but he then set the pole for the independents, so he's on row 3. Terrific effort by him, and indeed the team in total, for getting the rebuild done so effectively.
Yeah, Darrell's mentioned the team a few times in his releases subsequently, so he's obviously he's very grateful for them. They stayed up till 6 in the morning, apparently. He literally went to the hotel, had a shower and came back to circuit and got the car out for qualifying. So it's good that Darrell's managed to get his head back around it as well, because as a driver it's quite easy to, you know, just to lose focus a little bit, and you know, you kind of, your confidence drops a bit if something like that happens to you, and you know, to get straight back on it and be on the pace, that's pretty impressive as well.
Absolutely. Well, we're just waiting to speak to Rob Huff in just a few moments' time. Thiago Montero in his S2000 TC Civic, doing a great job. He'll be leading off row 3. Line astern they are, just going back to the independents momentarily. On the pole side, if you like, Michelis, Oriola and D'Aste, they're in a line, one by the other. McDowell sharing row 5 with Oriola. There are the results. You know what, he wasn't too tardy, was he, Rob Huff? That would have been an extremely good time during qualification. In fact, I think it would have actually been good enough for the first 2 rows. So he wasn't holding back on the warm-up.
No, he wasn't, was he? He was obviously giving it large there.
Yes,
2:31. That's that lap actually was about the same as the previous lap record again, wasn't it? So
yeah. So there you go. Rob Huff, to be honest, there is not a slow way to go around here. There's just the racing way, and quite often if you just step back off it a little bit, it can actually just upset your balance. Here's Thiago.
One car and one team that could get very much involved in the Chevrolet battle this weekend is Thiago's Honda. Thiago, qualifying didn't go quite to plan, did it?
No, for sure. I mean, obviously it's our best result. I mean, we can't get too fussy about it. We're really pleased about the 5th place. But we feel that P4 was possible, and but I mean, we're still in the development of the car, and we're still learning a lot. And the car, I had 2 laps with traffic. I didn't optimize my qualifying lap. I did it on the 3rd lap, so for sure we missed some tenths there. So P4 was achievable here, which was great. But we'll take P5. We're quite happy with that. And you know, the races here are short but long. A lot of things can happen. We have to go through the first few corners, especially, you know. That's my goal here today. It's to be safe until Lisboa, and then push hard and see what we can do against the Chevys maybe. And Gabriele will be there as well, so it'll be interesting for a final.
The car came to you in Japan and then it went straight to China without you ever having a chance to really get involved with the car between races. Here in Macau, again, you've had nothing. What's been the big change from those 2 races to here to allow you to be so competitive?
Well, we made some changes on the car, both chassis-wise and engine-wise a little bit. It's a place also that I really like, and I think the drivers can make a bit more difference if you're comfortable with the car. And the car felt really good right away. You know, the little changes we made went in the right direction, really suited this kind of track, you know, bumpy and twisty and stuff. So everything went in the right direction, and when you put that together, it makes a nice jump.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
There you go. He has hooked it together. It is a long road they're on. Interesting what he says. It's a short but long race. He means complex. It's twice 9 laps here. I think it can probably feel very long if it's not going well for you.
Yeah, definitely. And it's so much concentration. You know, you can't relax for 10 seconds, because if you do, you're going to be in the wall somewhere. But it was interesting, he said there that they've made the car much better, and yesterday we said that the car looked a lot more compliant and nicer to drive, so yeah, obviously making steps forward with it, and it's getting there.
Clearly much more comfortable. Back in a moment.